and welcome back to another episode of Whysosidious, a nerd podcast where we travel from a galaxy far, far away all the way to an imperial prison in the middle of the ocean and all the way back to Ferrix. Joining me today is my co-host David Cochran, and today we are covering episode 8 of Andor, the new Star Wars series on Disney+. But don't forget to check us out on social media at whysosidious pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also don't forget to send in questions to our email. We're always ready to answer them on a pod. Send in whatever you're thinking. And our upcoming schedule. So our Tales of the Jedi full breakdown will be coming out shortly, within the next week or so. And also next week, 2 weeks is Black Panther.
2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. Oh
11,
my
11.
gosh, yeah.
So 2 weeks is Black Panther. And of course, our continuing coverage of this show, Andor. But before we get into the episode, we do have some big Star Wars news coming out. Now, these were not confirmed by Star Wars, but I don't think they would want to confirm the first part of this news. But Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, like big places are reporting this, so it's pretty legit. So the first part is Disney has advised Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing Star Wars projects. More Lucasfilm executive personnel changes possible.
Oh my gosh.
So you can kind of take this one of two ways. Either they're firing her and they don't want her, announcing projects, or she's been announcing all these projects and getting people hyped up, and then they don't come out.
Right.
Like Rogue Squadron and the video games and, the Taika Waititi movie. And so they're just like, okay, like hold back on announcing things until it's like done, basically.
So Disney got the message. I think that was one of my requests too. One of probably all of our requests when we were talking about Disney Star Wars. It's like, just stop telling us things, Kathleen. Stop telling us these things that are coming out that end up not coming out anymore. Just stop trying to drop big news like that. That's just hilarious that Disney straight up told her, like, knock it off.
Yeah, no, seriously.
But it would be, again, nothing against her personally. I'm sure she's doing just fine financially. So I'm not going to feel bad if she gets canned, because
they would.
We need somebody else at the helm.
Right.
We need somebody else who knows what they're doing. Kathleen ain't it. I'm sorry. I'm sure you got millions and millions from the contract you've had with Disney. I'm sure you had a great time. You're done. Let's get somebody else in there.
Right. I feel like they would respectfully let her retire. They won't fire her.
Right. Yeah.
And she's a good producer, but she's not the head of a Lucasfilm. That's not her role.
Right.
She's good at producing movies. That's it.
Exactly.
So yeah, we have that. And the second part is we do have a mysterious Star Wars movie in the works. Now, the Hollywood Reporter reports that Damon Lindelof is writing, who is the creator of Lost and The Watchmen. The main writer on both those shows. And it is to be co-written by Justin Britt Gibson, who did The Strain.
Okay,
but this project is described as a standalone story that could potentially lead to more movies, and it could be set after the events of Rise of Skywalker, and it won't be a so it's not going to, what they're saying, it's not going to be episode 10, but it could be following up on some of the sequel trilogy characters.
Okay. I mean, it's hard not to get excited about a Damon Lindelof project.
Right.
Yeah, but they say standalone, but then they say it could lead to other things. So it doesn't
if it goes well.
Yeah. Well, it's a standalone for now because it's, alone. But it might turn into a trilogy. Yeah, it's like, well, I don't really know what that means. But a Damon Lindelof Star Wars project would be insane. And I'm here for it. I don't know what storyline outside of the main three characters, Finn, Poe, and Rey, you're going to pick up on, but...
And also, do not get too excited. We have a little loop Deadline has reported the director. Now, this is Sharmeen Obad Chinoy, who directed 2 episodes of Miss Marvel. So she is, you could say she's an up-and-comer, or you could say she's a nobody, whichever you want to go with.
What was the name again?
Sharmeen. And then Obaid. Chinoy. And but also, it says that Dave Filoni is involved with the writer's room.
Okay.
So he is involved, which isn't also another where you could take it 2 ways, where, yes, he's involved, but just give him a freaking movie. Let him write his own movie. Why is he involved in all these other things? Why are they, like, keeping him under, just give him his full potential, unlimited power.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he doesn't really want to, because at this point, there's no reason for them to not give him that option. So I'm wondering if he just isn't interested in
a movie
taking on that role, and he just wants to be more of the advisory and kind of producing,
do his
sideline
own
kind of thing,
animated shows.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I can't find anything on that director. I tried to look up something, but
I would love a Dave Filoni written Ahsoka movie, like after the series.
That would
give
be
her
awesome.
a movie, bro.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you can still do with that character. There's so many time gaps and everything, and it's such an awesome character. I mean, we just did Tales of the Jedi, and honestly, we got like, I don't know, like 19 total minutes of actual Ahsoka like story, really. I mean, the first episode, really, it was just baby Ahsoka. So we barely got anything, and I still enjoyed it. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff there that you could use with her that people are going to fill up the theaters with if you were to make a movie.
Oh yeah. She has to be like the most popular Star Wars character outside of, the first 6.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
More than Rey and Kylo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. By far. There's too much polarization going on with Rey and Kylo with the sequel trilogy.
Everyone loves
There's
Ahsoka.
No polarization going on with Ahsoka.
Unless you just watched the Clone Wars movie and stopped.
I still haven't watched that.
Don't. Unless you want to see them get Jabba the Hutt's son Stinky out of...
No, I've heard it's ridiculous and that the plot is ridiculous. And yeah, I haven't heard a single thing that's made me go, I think I'm going to turn that on right now.
Yeah, that was in theaters. I never saw that in theaters.
Huh. Put season 7 in theaters. Shoot.
Right?
Well, that's dope.
So it is it's in pre-production. So it's still going to be a while before we get it, probably like 2026 or something, which, will be like a 7-year gap in between Star Wars movies. But hey, what can you do?
Hey, I like how we dropped that right after the Disney tells Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing Disney movies because they never happen. Or Star Wars movies. Yeah.
And we talk about a Star Wars movie that's...
Lead right into 2026.
So the other part was they put this together after Celebration. Or after D23.
Okay.
Which was in September. So this is like...
Very recent.
Yeah. Very recent. All right. Let's get into it. Andor Episode 8. So this will be your final spoiler warning. If you have not seen Andor, please go back and watch it. Unless you're brave. Or your Disney Plus subscription got canceled. Of course.
Mm-hmm. As always.
As always. All right, so a quick summary. So the opening title music is getting more eerie each time. Really notice it this one.
Yeah.
So Cassian is transported to the Star Wars version of the Raft, where he is immediately tortured and sent to work. Not the greatest conditions, but clean. And straight out of left field, the prison pod manager, the CGI god himself, Andy Serkis, who is Snoke, Gollum, and Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, he killed it too.
Where did
not
that
see
come
that
from?
coming. Right.
Okay, yeah, I was like, was that advertised that Andy Serkis was in this show? Because I didn't know that. Like, it came out of nowhere.
And with him, Skarsgård, and Forrest Whitaker, just pound for pound, what an episode of actors.
Right? A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Yes. So after a hard day's work, Cassian finds out everyone is in there longer because of him. And we later see a prisoner commit suicide. I don't know how I feel about that. This is a little, this is Star Wars. Let's, but, it's an adult side. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
On Coruscant, Syril is brought in by Dedra to find out more about Cassian and Ferrix. And on Ferrix, we see Marva. I got a bad feeling about this. Vel and Cinta have been lurking around trying to find Cassian. And then we see Luthan meets up with lies, deception, Saw Guerrera. And they basically just have like a scenery chewing competition between them.
Yeah.
It was a great combo. We see Bix is arrested and interrogated by Dedra. And this is basically kind of our villain turn for Dedra, where I kind of was like, okay, I'm not really going to be rooting for her anymore.
Yeah, a tough one.
So let's, not a lot action-wise happened this episode, but they did move around a lot, and it was still an enjoyable one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start off with Cassian. So he's sent off to Narkina 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. The guy says, breathe deep. May this be our last fresh air we ever get. And he's just put right into slave labor. And like I was saying, I loved how the Imperial guy mentions the sanitary conditions. Because, you're always, in every Imperial ship, everything is just shiny black, shiny white. And it's like, how the hell do they keep everything so clean all the time? Well, this is, something they're really into is sanitation.
Yeah.
So right off the bat with the torturing device, and what an intro speech when he's just like basically telling them exactly how things are going to go. And if you screw things up, it's going to go a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
And no shoes so they can freeze them or so they can shock them. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously freezing all the time.
Dude, yeah. It's not a very comfy, homey place there. No shoes. You're walking on metal all the time, or steel. Dude, I really liked this aspect. So it wasn't your typical prison episode for any TV series or in a movies. You get the prison thing where your main character goes to prison and they immediately, they got to deal with, being the new guy, getting picked on by the different gangs, having the biggest guy that you got to show your physical stature to. You got to beat somebody up, make a name for yourself, yada, yada, yada. You got to find a currency, whatever it is, cigarettes, whatever the case. It's always kind of the same kind of tropes that go on in a prison. Yeah, or ramen. And this was totally different. It was totally unique. Like you said, the guy has that intro speech and he's like, yeah, you're probably wondering how we're standing here without any weapons and we're not worried about you attacking us. And then he shocks them all to the ground. It's like, yeah, no, we have stuff built in. Don't you worry about it. We got these cool black and orange space boots here. But those are so goofy. But it was a super cool, interesting new take on a prison thing like that. And they're in their assembly lines essentially, and they're basically playing games against the other assembly lines.
Right, competing.
And he's competing to almost make it like, I mean, it works because the winner gets rewarded with dinner or whatever, and loser gets shocked by the torture floor, which is pretty brutal. But it was just an interesting aspect to it. It was a unique take on a whole prison arc kind of thing. And again, of course, Tony Gilroy coming in with the clutch writing. But we're definitely going to be getting a prison break because we see Cassian looking around. Every scene when he's watching the guards, he's seeing what they're doing. He's seeing them kind of messing up when they're first getting him out there. They're like, where's the second guy? He's late. It's like, all right, well, whatever. Just send him out there anyways. And he's paying attention and picking up on all these cues. But then he notices that one guy in his line and he's looking out the window, and Cassian notices he's looking at somebody else who's across the prison, in the other window, and they're making hand signals towards each other.
Right.
So I think a prison break is already kind of in the works, and Cassian's going to kind of stumble his way into it.
That's what I thought too.
Okay, yeah. And so, they're already in the making of doing it. And Cassian, he's just picking up on stuff.
I mean, like, obviously people are trying to break out of prisons at all times. Like, it's just what human nature to to get out to be free.
Right.
And in there, it seems like it's pretty impossible to escape this prison. Like, you're going to need to find a TIE fighter or another ship and get the hell out of there fast, because there's like 5 of these prisons. Yeah, 5. And you see how, when you're talking about when they're doing the hand signals, how deep it goes underwater. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, because they're on level 5, I think. I forget how many levels total they said there are, but there's 7 people, 7 teams on each floor, and there's a ton of people down there, though. So another thing, it was interesting seeing the prisoners talking about the rebellion attack. And they're asking Cassian about it. They're all like kind of clamoring. They're like, ask him, ask him what's going on out there. And they ask what happened and why they're doing all this. And you find out that everybody's prison sentences has doubled in there. And everybody's serving longer terms now because of this attack on Aldhani. And they say, they're like, yeah, rebels slaughtered people in Aldhani. And obviously we know there was no slaughtering. It was just a robbery. There's, I think, 1 Imperial killed and he had a heart attack. It wasn't even like, or they might have shot a few people. But yeah, so they don't know what's going on and they're asking Cassian. Cassian doesn't give them any type of info. But it's almost like Cassian's starting to maybe see like consequences of the actions he's being a part of.
Yeah.
He's seeing all these people who are now all serving twice as long as they had to. He's seeing all these, everything he saw in Ferrix and everybody's lives being ruined there pretty much, and the Empire cracking down. Okay. And it's like, maybe he's finally starting to realize, A, there are consequences to my actions, and B, life is going to always suck for us as long as the Empire is in control. Unless you're an elite, life is going to suck as long as the Empire is running things. So I'm hoping and thinking that this little experience here is going to be the fire lit under his butt to get him, finding the rebellion squad and actually getting into the fight.
Let's talk about Andy Serkis a little.
Yeah.
So his name is Kino Loy. Mm-hmm. And he basically tells them, once they close those doors, I'm in charge now. They only come back to pick up the dead.
Yeah.
It's like, and he says 12-hour shift, and basically he runs a tight ship. Like, he keeps everyone in line. Like, I only have 249 days till I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to screw that up for me, basically.
Dude, he's just a great addition to the show. Like, great addition to the cast. Like you were saying, we already got Forrest Whitaker, and we got Stellan Skarsgård and Diego Luna and Genevieve O'Reilly, and now we're throwing in Andy Serkis. It's like, dude, I mean, you guys are stacking it up, and what a cool surprise. Again, we had to have not known, because like I asked you, I was like, did we know that Andy Serkis was in this show? And then I started thinking about it. I was like, of course not, because there would have been Snoke theories left and right if anybody knew Andy Serkis was in this show. But yeah, he was barely on screen, but every little bit of screen time he had, he ate that scenery up. Just like Forrest Whitaker, just like Stellan Skarsgård. It's just another really cool thing to throw into this that we didn't really need, but I love it.
And there was the one scene where he was like telling Cassian to get back to work, and he like smiled for a sec while he was like being sarcastic. He looked straight like Gollum.
Yeah, I did. Yes, that's the exact. That was the Smeagol smile, bro.
Yeah,
he's like,
he gave him the Smeagol smile.
What are you doing? You just taking a break? He goes, come on, guys, you got the chance to win the prize today. He just flashes this super fake Smeagol smile. That was hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. You got that vibe too. This is the first thing I thought of. I was like, dang, that just creeped me out right there. If only they knew.
They really did like make Gollum kind of look like him, which is really cool.
Yeah.
They have the same eyes.
Which is kind of an insult to Andy Serkis, but yeah, Andy Serkis actually really looks like Gollum. They really made them look alike. Oh, shit. No, yeah. That's funny. That scene is definitely funny. By the way, what do you think they're making those parts for? You think that's Death Star parts? You think that's TIE Fighter parts?
Right.
Because that's mass assembly, and they are pressing them to get that done like ASAP. But they're so small, obviously, if it's for the Death Star, it's not like we're going to see them being put into action. But just a curiosity thing right there. I was like, I wonder if we're going to see those, At first, I was thinking maybe like the AT-AT feet or something, but they're too small. But that was my first thought. I like the shape and everything, but it's too small for that. But
there must be like a piece, like a small piece to another.
Right.
larger thing. You know, like each level makes a certain part, and then it all gets put together on another level or something. You know.
Yeah. Well, and I bet I think the Death Star is probably the best choice because as we've seen in the Thrawn books, you know, they have that whole thing about getting enough dunium, I think is the name of the material. And they're having all these assembly lines of people trying to crank this stuff out, and they're always behind schedule on the construction of the Death Star. And so this almost felt like an excuse for the Empire, or for the Emperor, like this attack on Aldhani, to just crank down on efforts of slave labor, essentially. Like this happens, and now everybody's prison sentence doubled. Anybody who commits even the smallest infraction is now getting years in prison. And it seems like all these prisons are just running like work slave camps. So I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like the Emperor was waiting for this.
Right. He's like, yeah, my Death Star was behind. I need to just imprison everyone for twice as long.
Yeah, robbery, you say. There's also a huge nod. So I haven't watched it, but all the videos and breakdowns over the years of Star Wars stuff, George Lucas's first project, THX 1138, I believe is the name, always gets mentioned because he always references stuff going back to that. Mm-hmm. And this prison scene lined up with that a lot. Just because from what I've seen of it, everybody's wearing white, and it's like almost like a prison camp style thing where everybody's kind of stripped of their identity, and it's kind of like people being turned into robots almost. But the white aesthetic and everything in the prison matched up a lot to that whole THX 1138. So I'm imagining that was intentional. I don't know. They always throw that in a Star Wars project.
Right. That's cool because Tony Gilroy isn't a big Star Wars fan. You know.
No, yeah.
Right. So, you know, I'm surprised he did that.
Yeah. And then there was one more Easter egg from that. Did you notice? Probably not. I only noticed it. Let's be real. I didn't watch the show and be like, there's Melshi. But one of the names of the guys in Cassian's group there was Melshi. And he's actually in Rogue One a lot with the rebellion. He dies on Scarif with Cassian. So
he's in the movie?
Yeah, he's in the movie.
The same
Rogue One.
actor.
I gotta check. They look alike. I checked the scenes where he was in it. They look very similar, but it's a white dude with short hair and a mustache. I mean, it's hard to tell. He's not in a lot, but it's the same name, and that's a guy who's in the rebellion and ends up dying on Scarif. So that's another reason to think Prison Break. Exactly. Like, okay. So he's going to be popping up more, and he was kind of being more friendly to Cassian. Like he was kind of being more welcoming and kind of walking him through stuff and things like that. So he's the redheaded guy, a big piece moving forward. Not the redheaded guy. I know who you're talking about.
The guy that Andy Serkis threw against the wall. Not that guy.
Yes, that guy. The guy who was like. If the guy was like, yeah, if there's anybody who's thinking they're getting out of here, they're wrong. Like, it doesn't matter what your prison time is. You're stuck here until they want you gone or they're done with you. And then, Andy Serkis came up. So his name's Melshi. But yeah, he's the one.
That guy, I remember.
Who ends up fighting in the rebellion.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
moving on to Coruscant. Syril is back at his job, and he just looks bored, man. Like...
Miserable.
He's just looking around at everyone else like, I hate this. I need to be back in the field. And when the higher ups walk up, you can tell he kind of looks like, oh, is this my moment? Like, am I being called upon? But no,
right.
He's been being taken to Dedra to be basically interrogated about Ferrix and what happened, and she brought him in there because he's been searching for Cassian, filing all these false reports to try and figure out where he is. And
because you filed five false reports. He goes, well, 6. She goes, I'm not counting this morning. So,
oh my god. Basically, he just wants revenge for losing his job. Like she tries to call him out. Like, is this really for the Empire? Is this about yourself? You know, and you need to stop raising the alarm and just get back to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting though because after she left the room, he was smiling, like he kind of had this smile on his face, and it was almost like it because there's the door. He's thinking, okay, he's stuck in this bottomless pit, and he's been filing these false false complaints of Cassian tampering with fuel and a bunch of other random charges. And he finally got the attention of somebody in the ISB. And although she shoots him down and keeps telling him, this is done, drop it, leave it, I don't think he buys that. I don't buy it. Dedra's smart. Again, it's just like, I forgot, I'm not going to remember his name. The leader of the ISB, Partagaz. Yeah, I remembered.
Kyburn.
Come on. Kyburn. It's the same thing. He tells her, yeah, whatever. We don't go off of, good Lord, off of hunches. We don't go off of hunches. If you have something more, bring it to me, but I'm not doing anything. But it was tracking. He kept the information. He kept it in mind. It's the same thing with Dedra here. She's shutting Syril down, but she's logging everything he just said and she's going to act on it. And she is, they're looking into Ferrex right after that. And he knows that he's going to get called again. She's going to get further into the case. She's going to need something else for him to answer, and he's going to get brought back into this. And I don't remember who was the first one to bring up the theory. I think we all agreed upon it. I think it might have been you who was the first to say, I think Syril and Dedra are going to end up linking up. And there was the first step of it. So, yeah, I definitely don't think that's the end for them.
And what you were saying, she just let him read the report and then asked him one question and asked him one or two questions after that and walked out, But that was a cool scene where he stood up for himself. He was like, I was a good agent. And the actor does some weird mouth work. His mouth is barely opening.
I noticed that.
It's weird. But he says, I was overly ambitious. Yes. But can one ever be too aggressive when serving order? And it's kind of basically the same thing she was saying to her boss in the earlier episode, So when in that scene, I could tell Dedra was like, this guy is kind of like me in a way where he's overstepping his boundaries. Because she was filing false reports to get information too, and the other guy called her out protocol. On it.
Right? Yeah.
So she sees herself in him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and so I don't think she's going to hesitate to go back to him because she picked up on that. And man, the actor for Syril, now he comes off like a guy who would love the desk job he has. The boring numbers desk job, and his performance is really good because he annoys me, but in a way that's believable. It feels like that's exactly how his character should be acting and sounding. It just feels like, I don't know how to explain it. I want to smack him in the face, but in a good way. He's just a really good actor, and I actually am enjoying his character on the show, even though I don't like him.
And the same goes with Dedra. We've been rooting for her this whole time when she's in the Empire, but when she was I guess we'll kind of talk about the Bix scene because that ties in. She basically, she wants to show that the other guy is in bad condition as she's, leave him in here till she walks in, and then she goes, hey, why is he still in here? Get him out of here. And I was like, oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And then she shows her the chair and sits her down. It's like, oh, this is a little too far, Dedra. Come on.
Dude, she's savage. She knows what she's doing, too. That's the thing. She's scary because she is formidable. She's a formidable Imperial agent. And like you said, that play right there where she knew exactly what she was doing. Leave him there. As soon as she walks in, acts like she's surprised. She knows every step of the way what she's doing. And at first it was I really like this character. I'm digging her. And we're getting into him I think I'm going to hate her because she's too good at her job as an Imperial. Yeah. It's just, it's tough.
Bix is probably going to crumble.
Yeah. I mean, man, she's been taking loss after loss.
But did Cassian, she doesn't know where Cassian is.
No.
That's the thing.
She even asked his friend, it starts with a B. I forgot, the bigger guy. Bear. Right. I forget what his name is. But she asked him, she's like, so you don't even know where he is, do you? He's like, no, I have no idea where he is. So I think she was holding out on hope that somebody knew where he was, but she didn't. But now, she realizes, no, he's in the wind. And
even if you knew where he was, he's a completely different place now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Little does Dedra know he's actually under Imperial prison.
Right. Just look him up in the database. All of his aliases.
Look up images. Yeah. Just check recently booked images, and you'll see Cassian.
Keith.
But yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. The whole ISB thing. We didn't get much of it, but it still was. She's making her case to Wolf Yularen, and she stops and pauses, and he goes, "I'm listening." He's doing something else or whatever the case, so she makes sure he's listening in. But I love every little ISB scene we get in here, so I'm really hoping we continue to get more. I think the Emperor again was mentioned. If not by the ISB, definitely was by Mon Mothma. But he's mentioned so casually. And again, I love it. It's not like they're dropping the score when they say Emperor Palpatine. Dun dun. Like they're just dropping it normally in conversation. And it feels like a part of the world. So I'm loving the whole ISB thing. And like I said, the Syril thing. Like I said last episode, he really does feel like he's actually like one of the three main storylines.
Building his way up.
If you were to see a poster for Andor, it would have Cassian and Luthan, and then it'd have Dedra, Mon Mothma, and Syril. And Cyril's story is a main part of this season. After the first few episodes, I wouldn't have guessed it.
Yeah, when he sees Cassian again, because obviously they're gonna meet up.
Right.
That's gonna be cool because it'll probably be season 2 when it happens. They'll let it build up because there's only four episodes left. I don't see Cassian making his way to Coruscant.
No, no, absolutely not.
So maybe by the end of the show, Syril will be in this totally different place. We'll think of him in a completely different way, and then Cassian will give him a little laser blast to the forehead,
little laser blast to the dick. Yeah, I don't think I'll see him either this season, but I think they're going to continue to parallel this thing. They keep doing scenes where they flash from Cassian to a scene with Syril, and like they went from Cassian's prison scene to Cyril's work scene where he looks like he's in prison and he's in all the cubicles. And then we went back to Cassian in a cell, and then we went right back to Syril in the interrogation cells. So there's a lot of parallels working on these two characters. So yeah, they are building up for that rematch.
So back to Coruscant. I think this takes place right after the Senate meeting, because they were talking about things that were happening. They kept mentioning the Emperor, so I think they just got over. Because the guy says, Palpatine is frustrating? Yes. Too easily provoked? Yes. Overreactive? Maybe. So I think they were all like discussing this meeting they were just watching,
Okay.
And, her husband says, saving the Empire from the Emperor, which is kind of cool. It's basically kind of what she's doing right now. But when she talks to Tay, Kolma, the husband and her daughter are starting to seem kind of suspicious of what's going on.
Right.
Like, he's back in town. Like, and then they they walk away and then look back at him. So it's like, what are these two? Her daughter, her daughter just has these like 30-second scenes where you just hate her more every time.
I trust her less than the husband. I swear, she is going to be the one that betrays Mon Mothma in the biggest way possible. It's going to be the daughter. I do not trust her. It was also super interesting. So we got a little clarification with Mon Mothma and her husband and their icy relationship.
Oh, right.
And we find out that they were in arranged marriage when they were 15 years old. So neither of them even wanted this marriage. And then it's like, oh, yeah, no, that checks out. Because nothing we've seen have been like, at what point were they in love and got married? Like, they're not that old and they seem to hate each other. So, yeah, a little clarification there.
And another thing I picked up from that, she said they met, they got married before they moved to Coruscant. So once they moved to Coruscant, they became two different people. Where, she saw all the corruption and fought against it and doesn't like that. And he's just like, I like this rich, cozy life. I'm not going to fight against what I think is probably bad.
Yeah. Well, what was his line when he was walking away? He goes, yeah, you work on feeding the poor. I'm going to go feed myself. He walks off and...
He said charity starts at home or something like that.
Yeah, and he turns around. What was his name again? Tay Kolma? Tay Colma. Yeah, he says, yeah, charity starts at the home, and man, he turned around and gave him that dirtiest look, and Tay Colma didn't even bother looking at him, but like he just said that as he walked off. And yeah, man, the husband and the daughter, they're going to aim to take out Tay.
Yes.
I also, that little Senate conversation they're having, like you said, they're talking about the emperor, and they're like, well, did he overreach here, yada yada yada. And one of the ladies is like, well, the emperor's primary charge is to protect us, is it not? And it was just the classic, like, oh my gosh, like not thinking for yourself, kind of valuing protection over freedom kind of thing, but also an elite who has no idea, does not have their finger on the pulse of what's happening with people who aren't filthy rich anywhere else. And it's just making that blanket statement of, well, it's his job to protect us. If it's fine if he's doing all these awful things to all these planets and all this stuff. And it was just such a classic demonstration of the majority of the senators' viewpoints. And I can't even imagine, Mon Mothma's got to fake these conversations every day as she's sitting there planning for the rebellion and has to listen to these just stuck up senators saying ridiculous stuff like that. I just can't even imagine.
No, Vel and Cinta.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of cool. That was super surprising. So it's just like Bix and the other guy are talking, and then it just pans over, and Vel's just hanging out right there watching. Yeah. And Cinta's there. So apparently she made it off planet somehow. Right. Which was kind of one of the things I would maybe slightly lazy writing, just to kind of nitpick something, because I don't feel like this show
skipped it.
The show does show everything. They're not skipping things in this show, and that is one thing they kind of skipped. Like they're giving characters scenes that you don't really care about sometimes. So might as well show Cinta kind of hop on a fucking TIE fighter and get out of there real fast or something.
Yeah, because she got a land speeder when she saw the Star Destroyer going over, but it ain't like she's dipping off in that. Like I don't think that thing travels through space. But yeah, it was good to see she made it.
And it confirms they're a couple. We were kind of speculating, and they're in love, and they've been apart for so long. They're finally back, get to hang out, and they're going to split up again because Cinta's going to stay back and hope and maybe see if Cassian comes back home again, and Vel's going to go on the hunt. Yeah,
and Vel said it, bro. Cinta's cold. Which, she's fully bought into the rebellion. And like Skeen said, as long as he wasn't lying, he said she watched her family get slaughtered by stormtroopers. So she has no family left. So she is obviously hardcore for the cause. And man, Vel's taking it a little hard. Vel's like you said, like we've been apart for so long, and you're this willing to just say, I need to leave for the mission. But we got a little context into Vel, and I might have been wrong. About being 100% positive that Vel is the daughter of Luthan, because Cinta tells her, or Vel's like, okay, so who are you going to say you are? And she goes, I don't know, maybe I say I'm some rich person running away from their family. And Vel goes, that's cold even for you. So it made it seem like she was talking about Vel. So now it's like, okay, what rich family is Vel? Is Vel's parents one of the senators in the Empire doing horrible things? Or, is her parents one of the senators dealing with Mon Mothma right now? Or was Cinta talking about, I don't know, I don't know, but it didn't seem like that was a Luthan style. Yeah, because she said that.
I remember that. I remember the scene, but
yeah. So that's how I took it, at least, was that she was talking about Vel in that instance.
For sure she was.
So yeah, it's interesting. I think we're going to get an answer to that hopefully this season, but it adds a little mystery to Vel's background again.
Yeah, I like how they do that with everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like Vel a lot too. I hope she's in it a lot more by the time the season ends.
And Bix is trying to contact Luthan to find Cassian because his mom is ill, because I don't think she's going to last much longer. But it was really cool how when Bix is talking to the other guy, she says, why? He was like, why did she fall at the hotel? He's like, she was trying to rip the gate open to see if the tunnel was still there, so the rebels could do a surprise attack. Let's go! What? Like, she's fucking out there. Like JD said, what is she gonna do? That's what she's gonna do.
She's gonna rip the doors off and get it ready for the rebel invasion, baby.
She might fall and get hurt, but she tried.
She might get dizzy and pass out and hurt herself, but you know what? She tried.
She has life alert.
Yeah, her name's B emo or whatever, B2 emo.
So, and then when it cuts to Luthan, and Luthan wants to answer because he's trying to find a lead, and we were also kind of speculating if Luthan knew about this, so now it kind of confirms it that he does know about them, Vel tracking them down and trying to kill him, basically.
Right.
Well, he never specified killing, so maybe just find, he thinks, and Clea said kill.
Clea did, yeah, okay.
They seem to be at odds a lot more now than they were in the first couple episodes, and she's like trying to like take control and, you know, do what she wants. Like she says, you're slipping, and he's like, no, I'm just tired of hiding.
Right. She said you're slipping like 4 times this episode. It's like, dang, hey. Like, yeah. It does seem like they're starting to kind of, I don't know, butt heads a little bit with whatever their vision is with things. And I think I don't know, he's obviously stressed about the whole Cassian situation and him being out there with all this info, and he's stressing about how he blew it. He shouldn't have brought in somebody he didn't know. But it's kind of got me for a loss. I don't really know where he sits on that at that point.
I feel like Luthan would want to talk to him one more time before he kills him. Like, bring him to me, I'll decide, you know?
Right. Because he believed in him enough to do everything he did to risk his ass going to Ferrix for all of that. So,
and they got the job done with him.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
and he
of
gave him the Kyber crystal back.
Right. Yeah. I think Clea went off on her own and added, like, Luthan was like, okay, you need to go meet up with Vel and tell her that you need to find Cassian and bring him to me. Like, he cannot be out there. And Clea just goes and he's like, hey, you got to kill him. Like,
Kill him.
And, you know, she's in contact, and she was the one that was on the phone listening to the Morse code or whatever that Bix was sending. And she's the one that's talking to Vel over the phone, too. Like, she's in contact with all these people and just translating the messages. So who knows what she's really doing.
Yeah, I don't really trust her that much, I gotta say.
Right. And Luthan takes off. At first I was like, okay, like, he's just going to go off to some random place. But no.
Right.
Saw Guerrera.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this.
Right. And this was a cool scene because it's like 2 different leaders of the rebellion. One is very behind the scenes, doing things, just paying for stuff and kind of ordering people around. And then Saw Guerrera is on the front lines, attacking, you know, he has his armor on at all times.
Yeah. No breathing tube yet. So he hasn't gotten messed up totally that we see him in Rogue One where he constantly needs a breathing apparatus and everything. And he doesn't have his... Well, he wasn't really walking around, but it didn't seem like he had his cane yet or anything either. He does have the facial scars, and we saw those on him in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Right.
Dude, okay, how do they make Forrest Whitaker look younger? Like he looks like a young Saw Guerrera. I mean, this is only 4 years before Rogue One or whatever the case is, but still, he looked reasonably younger and sounded. He doesn't have the raspy voice apparatus thing. But dude, it was so cool. It was such an unexpected and welcome surprise to get the scene. So the scene opens up with Bentic Two Tubes, the homie from Rogue One, who the first scene in Saw Guerrera's stuff in Rogue One, it opens with Bentic Two Tubes overlooking on Jeddah, and then they go to their little meeting there. So it opens up with the same character who's a classic character going back into Star Wars lore. He's in a lot of the Legend stuff. He's in a lot of comic books and stuff like that. But dude, we saw the X-Wings. The painted like black and charcoal colored X-Wings, those were dope looking. Like, we see that. We get to see Saw there. And man, Forrest Whitaker got like 2 minutes of screen time in this episode and absolutely killed it. His lines, his frustrations about the other rebel groups, you know, they're lost. They're lost. What are they doing? You know, just ripping into them. I don't have the full quote for everything he said there, but it was just such a good scene. And you could just see why Saw is the way he is. And Luthen's like, you know, stop fighting people who are trying to help you. And he's basically like, they're all lost causes. They don't know what they're doing. I'm not wasting my time and risking my men to deal with people who don't know what their true goal is. Like, we know what we're going out there to do. And it was just such a cool scene. Such a cool scene to have those two actors together.
And he first goes there to sell him some weapons.
Right.
But then he says he'll give them to him for free if he meets up with Anto Krieger. They kind of threw this name out there, like, we're supposed to know who this guy is. You know, I have no idea. But Saw says he was a separatist before.
Okay. But yeah, and Saul wanted nothing to do with it. You know, he's like, no sale this time, Luthan, you know.
What would be some predictions for episode 9? I'm hoping we get the prison break because we got to wrap up this arc.
Yeah, that's right.
And with the other characters, it's kind of just all over the place, you know. Maybe Syril gets a promotion.
Yeah. I think Dedra will come to Syril, yeah, and she'll need some extra information that she didn't have, and he'll show that he is a vital piece, you know, somebody who can actually help her mission here, and I think she'll begin to pull strings to get him pulled out of the position he's in. I think we'll definitely end the episode with them breaking out of the prison and getting out of there. Or I would say they're going to plan the prison escape this episode, but like you said, it's the end of the 3-episode arc, so you would think they would have to make this prison break happen. But I guess they could always start off the next arc with the prison break and lead into that, and this just ends with him, I don't know. That if there wasn't the 3-arc system, I would guess that they're going to be plotting the prison break and that it would end the episode with them about to attempt it. But
right.
Yeah, with the 3-episode arc, I don't know. I would love to get more Saw, which we probably won't, to be fair. We'll probably get him at the end of the season in the next 3-episode arc here. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect. And that's what I love about this show. I really don't know what to expect every week. Like, I go into it really just kind of blind and excited to see what happens. And again, this week we got Andy Serkis. We got Saw Guerrera being brought into the fold. Like, I didn't expect either of those things. So I don't really know what's going to happen next week, but I'm sure it'll be good.
Right. Yeah, it's going by fast, too, with that 3-episode premiere.
I know.
It's almost over.
I know. At least we can focus on this, I guess, you know, for the last 4 weeks now that House of the Dragon and Rings of Power is over. But yeah, it's definitely zooming by.
And what would be your rating for this episode?
So for this episode, I rated it at 8.2 out of 10. It was just another solid episode in the series. I didn't really have any complaints, hooked by the writing and dialogue from start to finish. Like I said, I really liked the unique prison aspect and everything going on, and the surprise introductions of Forrest Whitaker and Andy Serkis, man. It was just a really solid episode, as always.
Yeah. Ditto.
Yeah?
I mean, bringing in Andy Serkis was my biggest like of the episode for sure.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of screen time and he killed it. And it's weird, he's played 2 different characters in Star Wars now.
All right. It's Snoke, bro.
Works.
It's Snoke. He's going to end up being Snoke in a bit. They're going to clone this guy.
Palpatine's going
to clone this guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I do have it rated at an 8.3.
Okay. All right.
So I did like last episode was better, but
okay,
because that
Mon Mothma,
those Mon Mothma scenes were off the charts. So she killed it last episode.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, it's just a solid show. Like, I'm very pleased with what we're getting here, and yeah, can't ask for anything else.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd Podcast. Stay tuned for future episodes. Like, subscribe, follow. Unsubscribe, resubscribe. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Big Sa and Big Doodoo now.